Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fantasy NBA Today, SportsEthos show brought to you by our great partners at FanDuel. I'm Aaron Bruski, joined as always by the great Dr. A. In today's show, as usual, ads, drops, streamers, and later today, Q&A with Dr. A in about 90 minutes. So we just shot out a link over on Twitter. Make sure you guys have your questions ready to go. Drop them in the Q&A at the link, and that will be located on the SportsEthos YouTube channel. All right, Doc. I feel like you've got some great ads to tell us here today. Who's your first one?
Hey, do you think that some of our loyal listeners who are here every day, like, try to fill in who we're going to say? I think we do the same format every day. I try to fill in who I'm going to say.
I think it's probably on those prediction markets. You know, you could go bet your life savings on who's Dr. A's first ad of the day.
By the way, apologies for my streamers yesterday. We're going to do better today. My first ad is, did I have him number one? I'm going to say Will Riley. I've been talking about
lost their life savings, dude. This is terrible. Ugh,
I've been talking about Will Riley. He plays 33 minutes.
You have been talking about Will Riley. That's right.
33 minutes every night. He started again last night. 19 points, 2 threes, 3 boards, 5 assists, 2 steals. I don't know why Washington is doing this, but I feel like they've decided that this is their guy, and he's going to play 33 minutes every night. I think that's 7 games in a row with at least 29 minutes. So I mean, he's not a fantasy stallion. He's not going to single-handedly like take your team and put it on his back and carry you over the finish line. But man, in these times, I know my waiver wires are pretty lax right now. Like, there's not a lot going on my waiver wires. So if you can grab a Will Riley and you can get 33 minutes and some good stats out of him, do it.
I think the thing with Will Riley that I like, and it was frustrating the last 6 games of all those minutes, is that it feels like he's capable of more. It hasn't played out that way this season, but I mean, if you're on the floor for the Washington Wizards for 30 minutes a game, stats got to fly your way at some point. So I think this is great. Interestingly enough, Will Riley was talking up Justin Champagnie after the game last night, talking about him as like one of the best rebounders he's ever seen. Champagnie is, the minute I dropped him, which you're welcome, America and the world, 13 points, 7 boards, 1 steal, 3 blocks last night, just 23 minutes. He's been consistent since I dropped him, producing up to top 75 value. I think is probably as high as I want to call this for him. And what's crazy is if you just kind of ran with it on the season by totals, he's a top 100 guy in 9 cat leagues. It's crazy. It's been impossible to track. I mean, this all has happened in the last, say, 2 to 3 months. So the first month of the season, he was just off the radar completely. But Justin Champagnie is going right now, and I would think that Washington would want to develop both he and Will Riley. But we'll see what happens next. I can't give you any guarantees there, but he's working out right now. So, Doc, who do you got next?
I am going to give some love to Gershon Yabusele of the Chicago Bulls. You know, I've been kind of high on him, then I've like written him off, and then I was high on him, and then I wrote him off, and now I'm kind of high on him again. Somebody's got to play center in Chicago, and I don't think it's going to be Jalen Smith. I don't really trust Nick Richards all that much. Last night, Yabu finally had a pop game, and he went off for 18 points, 12 boards, 2 assists, a steal, a block, 4 threes.
4 threes.
Hit 7 of 14 shots. This was against Oklahoma City.
Yeah, it was.
And it was just a fun game. The game before that, 12.7 boards, 5 assists, 3 steals, 2 threes. The signs are there. And with Chicago officially joining the tank parade, because I don't think they have a chance at the postseason now, there's no reason not for them for them to not let the golden bear, the dancing bear, dance. The golden
Except for
bear
the
is Jack
fact that
Nicklaus.
Jalen Smith is reportedly coming back soonish, and I'm with you. I'm not putting a ton of stock in Jalen Smith playing. Like it would be over under 50% of the remaining games, I think is at least a minimum fair question to ask. And then Nick Richards probably falls off before Gershon Yabusele does. We've seen Yabusele go on runs, man. For Philadelphia, he went on like a half season run. Didn't work out in New York. It feels like he's got a classic on-off switch guy. It's either going to be there or it's not. That's the risk you have when picking him up, relying on him for a long term. I'm not completely sold. This is why I'm chopping my steps here. I'm not completely sold this is going to keep up, but at least there's a body of work that we've seen him really. I mean, he was like a top 75 guy for a decent stretch there and last season. And this is good stuff. So speculative ad at least for Gershon Yabusele. I'll get to Brooklyn for Danny Wolf. He had 11 points, 5 boards, 5 assists, 1 block, 1 3, 21 minutes. He's totally leapfrogged Day'Ron Sharp, like in my mind. And I've been rooting for Day'Ron Sharp. I think there's more there. I think that they need to be more consistent in the way that they deploy him. Maybe there's an injury there for Day'Ron Sharp, but it literally hasn't been there for so long for Day'Ron Sharp. So give me the shiny new object in Danny Wolf. Doc, who do you got next?
I'm just going to shout out Jalen Williams. I mean, he's an every other game kind of guy, right? Like Sunday, he had 0 points and 5 boards, 2 blocks. And then Tuesday, he comes back in his next game, 33 minutes, 17 points, 16 boards, 6 assists, a steal, 3 3-pointers. He was just on fire. But if you look at his game log, I mean, you can see it. He has good games, and then he has bad games, and then he has middle of the road games. So catching him on the right night is kind of key. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's coming back tonight, but it is a back-to-back. So maybe Jalen gets out there and gives some of the guys who played bigger minutes more rest tonight and keeps the hot hand going.
Yeah, Isaiah Hartenstein back in this one, so a little bit iffy on that front. Chet took it was a Chris Middleton. Actually, Chris didn't do anything wrong. Chris stood there and Chet banged his shin, and it was anytime that dude Chet Holmgren takes a shot to the leg, his leg looks like it just snap at a moment's notice. So he might be dinged up, but he's not on the injury report as of right now. Jalen Williams, I can't wait for him to get a bigger role. Probably somewhere else, unless Oklahoma City can figure out something to be able to keep him. He's just got way more potential than he's been allowed to display on a night-to-night basis in Oklahoma City. And if he's going to get the green light, this is always in play. Something like this is maybe not this big, but something nice is always in play for Jalen Williams. I'll take us to Sacramento. Nate Clifford, 10 points, 8 boards, 4 assists, 3 steals, 39 minutes. Efficiency not great. At least he's got some volume here with the PRA. It's the 3 steals that really hold this line up. And I do think that this game being on NBC, it was a super nostalgic game with, I'm trying to figure out lately things I think of. Is NBC more addicted to its past with the NBA on NBC broadcast marketing, or is Sacramento more addicted to their 2001 Kings and all of that stuff with Mike Bibby and Chris Webber and Vlade Incorporated. But that big game, I think, might have marked the end for Sacramento, playing guys like Russell Westbrook and DeMar DeRozan, or they'll just wait for other kind of big team, big name games to have their veterans go out there. Otherwise, I think it's going to be just a tank fest, and Nate Clifford has the ability to reach up and get you more. We just got to watch out for the efficiency. Doc, who do you got next?
I'm going to go ahead and give a little shout out to Walter Clayton of Memphis. I believe Scottie Pippen and Ty Jerome are probably not playing tonight. That means it's going to be Cam Spencer and Walter Clayton Jr. out there. Clayton Jr.'s last 2 games is at 8 points, 11.5 dimes, 3 steals, and a 3-pointer. Cam Spencer has had 3 decent games in a row, double-digit scoring, 3-pointers, some assists, some steals. Brew, which one of these guys do you like tonight? And if you're picking one of them up long term, who's it going to be?
Okay, so we got Clayton, we got Spencer. Who was the other one? I was just reading some news on the Kevin Porter Jr. out tonight with some knee
It's
issues.
just those two guys, Spencer or Clayton.
You know, Spencer is hilariously consistent right now. You know, all the hype that, we were kind of leading the charge with there, fell through, and then he just kept producing at a top 125 level. And that's what he's doing right now. And it feels like that's what he's just going to do. Clayton is all sorts of kind of random. Like if he plays, doesn't play, it wouldn't shock me one bit. I mean, Javon Small didn't play in this last game. So if Javon Small comes out of this with a deal, which he should, I would think, then, that's just another guard in the mix there to bump out Walter Clayton. So I would say this: if you're looking for consistency, it's Cam Spencer. If you're looking for a moonshot, it's Walter Clayton. And I don't know if you have anything else to add to that.
Does Walter Clayton, if the Grizzlies give up, they already know what Pippen can do. They know what Jerome can do. They know they may not know what Javon Small can do. And it's funny that we don't even talk about John Moran anymore. Like he doesn't even exist. But if they turn the keys over to Clayton, could he win leagues for people?
I'm not going to summarily rule it out just from the perspective of the stat set seems to be there. And I've been a believer in this guy for a long. Once I saw his film, I thought like poor man's, Steph Curry, if you kind of, adjust for where they're at in their careers. Like, when Steph came into the league and then when Walter came into the league, maybe even if you want to say Steph year 2, if people didn't believe in Steph year 1, Steph year 2, it's just this kind of ability to pull from anywhere. There's definitely differences between the two, but he's got this sweet stat set that's just waiting. He'll get you some threes, he'll get you some PRA. I think the efficiency will end up being good, a couple steals, and you're out the door. And if he can just kind of like figure out his lane, I think it's possible, but I think he's going to need help from Memphis. And then the other thing with Memphis that's a little bit shaky, scary, name your adjective, is like, they just bring Santi Aldama back the other day, and then they're like, oh, no, never mind, you're not playing. Cedric Coward, no real reporting for a while. Oh, now you're playing. Oh, now you're out. And I kind of wonder, are they just taking a page from everybody else's book in the league? We're going to just yank guys in and out of the rotation, and then when you play, you get your 20 minutes, and that's not going to be a recipe for a league winner. He needs to be fully unleashed for that to happen, and I think that's probably about 20% odds right now. So I don't like the odds of a league winner recommendation here, but it's theoretically possible. Feel free to jump in if you would like, Doc. Otherwise, let's get to the players we're considered dropping, buy lows. Who do you got in your drop zone, Doc?
I'm going to go with Michael Porter Jr. He's been playing great. He had one bad game in February, and he had a really bad game last night. 3 of 17, 0 for 9 from downtown, 9 points, 3 boards, 3 assists, nothing else.
Got benched too.
Yeah, he only played 27 minutes. He's been playing in the 30s. Obviously, you're not going to just drop Michael Porter Jr., but we're to that point of the season now where guys are going to start getting pulled. And you mentioned DeMar DeRozan in Sacramento. We're going to talk about him in a couple minutes. The only hope that Michael Porter Jr. has to play this season out, I think, is this new attention to we're not going to allow teams to tank. And this anti-tanking thing that's going on, and this, if your guys are healthy, you're going to play them attitude works in Michael Porter Jr.'s favor. But the guy's got a history of back problems, and all they have to do is say, oh, he tweaked his back, he can't play. And I don't think there's really doctors that can go out there and say, well, we disagree. He has to go play. So I guess this is just your warning, your last warning that I don't see Michael Porter Jr. finishing this thing out.
The one thing I wonder, you know how like you can't leave the gym without making your last shot? He has been in a complete freaking slump, like just the worst slump in the world. And it's also affecting his defense. And Jordi Fernandez pulled him for that and talked about how he's able to coach him like that. And he's he's kind of just openly saying, yeah, I'm going to bench you. I'm going to tell the public you're playing bad defense, and I'm going to put you back out there, and you're going to play good defense this next game. He feels like he has that rapport and relationship. He probably does have that rapport and relationship with Michael Porter. I mean, it's a terribly hard thing to go play defense for this team, I think. And if you're not like a defensive minded player, you're going to have a lot of opportunity to slip, especially if you're not making your shots and you just start to get down on yourself. So Michael Porter Jr., I think I got a lot of Michael Porter Jr. everywhere. I kind of think of he's going to try to get this right and end the season on a good note. And if he has like 3 good games, I'm getting concerned at that point that they've got, okay, cool, you did it. All right, now we're going to pull you. And then that'll be that.
Well, offensively, he's been really good. The shooting hasn't been bad. He's scoring points. He's getting boards and assists and doing what he does. But it just feels like why would you not want to develop the talent that you have?
Maybe it's because they don't have talent.
Maybe.
I don't know. But like 0 for 9 from 3, 3 of 9, 1 of 8, 1 of 9, 1 of 6. These, like, he had it turned around, and I actually was concerned. He was 2 of 4 on Friday and then 5 of 8 on Sunday. And I was like, okay, all right, that whole theory I was just talking about. I was like, okay, is this going to be the end? I'm actually a little happy about the 0 for 9 because I think we might get another trip to the well here for him to get 2 or 3 more good games before it's exiting stage right. Okay, let's get to Day'Ron Sharpe. Mentioned him earlier. 10 points, 8 boards, 4 assists. Okay, that sounds fine, right? The classic 17 minutes that he always gets. 0 steals, 0 blocks. I just need more good games out of Day'Ron Sharpe that are actually good games, like 10, 8, and 4, and coming up empty everywhere else. Low minutes. It's just not doing it. And, value-wise, he hasn't been there, hanging around the bottom of the top 200 over the last couple months. And like I said, I think there's more there for him. And I'm not sure if they're protecting an injury or if this is just some sort of a management edict or what it is, or why are they limiting him to just 17 minutes? It's not like Nick Claxton's just tearing it up out there. And Danny Wolf is around, but his minutes aren't high either. You'd think that they would have at least some stretch of the season dedicated. Let's see if Day'Ron Sharpe can handle 25 minutes per night. So it hasn't been there for a while. I'm not sure why people are excited about this. Theoretically, I guess it could happen. I've just been watching for 2 months and it hasn't happened. So I'm personally okay with the drop. Who do you got next, Doc?
Hey, Brew, you mentioned Nick Claxton. He came back and played last night. Didn't do a whole lot. Is he on the same clock that Michael Porter is on?
No, I don't think so. I think they each have I think there's 12 individual clocks out there for these guys. And as far as Claxton goes, if he's going to be like a super late round value, like really back end of the 150 and miss games, and we don't know what the future looks like for him, I think there's this one little thought in my head that maybe he goes on a 5-game stretch that's just super good. We've seen it in the past where he's got stats across the board, some big poppy defensive stats. But that's a lot of wishful thinking right there. And I just think that this is going to get more messy rather than less messy in Brooklyn. So I would move on from Nick Claxton if I had a pretty good viable alternative, somebody in the top 125 range or above.
Okay. My next drop zone player is Isaiah Stewart, Beef Stew. He's basically just played 1 game in the last month. He played last night and didn't do much. He was 4 points, 2 boards, a steal, and 2 blocks. Roto, if you're counting on him for those blocks, maybe that's okay. But in a points league, it's not okay. And Jalen Duren has really come into his own this season. And I think that Beef Stew is more akin to a hockey player who is there to be an enforcer than he is to contribute to the offense of the team. So if you need blocks and you need an enforcer, then have at it with Beef Stew. I'm out. And if you waited on Beef Stew for 7 games and what you got in his return was 4 points and 2 boards and 2 blocks, you're probably asking yourself why. So I'm moving on from beef stew.
Yeah, not enough meat to the bone there. Like, how do I transition? I'm not going to even try. Derek Queen, a lot of meat to the bone, and then I could get meaner from there. 2 points, 2 boards, 4 assists, 1 block, 19 minutes. Jeremiah Fears, 5 points, 2 assists, 1 3, 19 minutes. And this was a game in Los Angeles, and I don't know, maybe possibly the beginning of kind of the quote end for Zion Williamson. I don't know. The big names wanted to play in this game, so that much of it makes sense. But still, like, both these guys have been struggling in the late round range. Derek Queen's been really struggling lately. And I guess, yeah, theoretically, Derek Queen could get the ball handed to him for the last 4 weeks of the season and absolutely go off. So I think you got to treat him like a luxury stash, not somebody you're relying on for day-to-day production. And the inverse of that was true as recent as like 4 weeks ago. And that's why he was a good asset at that point in time. And now he's dived significantly. So Jeremiah Fears, I actually like their want and desire to get him involved. So I think what we're looking for are games that are not kind of primetime games that a player like Zion would be interested in playing in, or maybe the team would be interested in playing, and kind of leaning into Zion as the overall hub of the offense, as Trey Murphy's as well. This is a big game. We want these guys to produce, and not the Derek Queens and the Jeremiah Fears of the world. So treat Queen like a luxury stash. And then Fears, he's not got a lot of upside, overall. He's not like a guaranteed top 75 guy if things are going well. So he's a cut or two below. Whereas I think Derek Queen, if they really do want to put the ball in his hands and go, he does have top 50 potential. Both guys not getting it done. So a little disappointing for both. Doc, who do you got next?
I've got your guy, DeMar DeRozan. So he's experienced 2 wins since mid-January. He went out there last night and busted his 36-year-old behind for 34 minutes and hit 5 of 15 shots. He scored 17 points with really nothing else to show for it. And then they lost 114 to 103 to the Suns. They lost again, like they always do. They're the worst team in the league. Like, why is DeMar DeRozan, who's 36 years old, still out there playing 34 minutes in meaningless games?
Because the game was on NBC, and also because DeMar DeRozan and Russell Westbrook run that basketball team. Like, they literally run it. It's their team. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. I'm saying that deadpan because it's like, on what planet are you going to let 2 players dictate the terms of engagement like that? And I think it's like some weird theory on like, well, we got to respect them because of their stature in the league. And, we don't want to give it to the young guys, and we need them. Otherwise we're going to look even worse. But like, well, I'm telling you, anybody who's played basketball, when you go play for a team and somebody's taking a bunch of bad shots and then they don't play defense, like, how long does that last? How long until they get an earful? How long until you're off the court waiting to get next? Like, it's just never, ever works. And yet Sacramento is committed to it. And it's losing, so that's fine. But it's also not developing your players. And it's just a weird thing in general. Doc, you're dropping DeMar DeRozan immediately, or you're waiting a couple games? Or
I don't think I'm dropping him immediately, but the fact of the matter is, except for points and assists, he really doesn't do hardly anything else anyway. So you can probably live without DeMar DeRozan, but I'm probably hanging on to him until they pull the.
And frankly, I think he's sick of playing too. So like, he'll go out there for the games that are big, and like, it's not like he's going to be like, I'm not playing anymore. But like, I think he's done. So I think at some point in time they will all kind of get together, and DeMar will do the exit stage left a little bit faster than Russ. But Russ is gunning for like career stats, and he just loves to be out there. So like, he will actually just go out there and take up all of the volume. And
I agree with that. I feel like Westbrook's like, no, I want to play till the end, and DeRozan's going to be like, dude, you're hurting my chances for next year. Like you can't keep running me out there every night.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. I think DeMar's not done playing basketball, and he's already pissed about the next year's contract. There's a $10 million guarantee. Is that going to get eaten so he can get out of there? Can he be traded? And the answers to can he be traded is it's not that easy. I don't think teams are looking to add a chucker who operates inside of the 3-point line. That's going to disrupt the flow of your offense. And then defensively, he's just not there. So I think the chance was that the Clippers would be interested, and then Sacramento played their asset into the ground. You should probably hidden your asset and figured out a way to get out of that sooner before everybody realized exactly what it was, but you should have known that a couple of years ago. All right. Javon Small is my next drop. And I'm not trying to drop Javon Small because it's exciting. He's a mid-round guy for a couple of weeks now. But he's a two-way guy, two-way contract, and there's no contract being offered to him right now. Just mysteriously misses this last game after having a nice stretch of games where he played consecutively. And that's unfortunate. So we're going to have to treat Javon Small with some kid gloves. If you want to treat him as a stash, the timeline for him being good again is maybe not that far away. You do have a lot of guards in Memphis right now, so there is that risk. And his momentum could be stymied, pretty easily, I would think. Just he's not a big name player. They've got a lot of different agendas there. So this isn't like stable ground, but it feels like he fits the bill of what Memphis could do in a tank and do it well, and perform on his side. But again, there's a lot of guards there. So he's on some kind of a watch list to be dropped at this point, but also a stash. All right, so let's look at the streamers, Doc. Let's get into tonight's games. Who do you got?
So real quick on Javon Small, I feel like tonight he could play and go off, or he may not play at all. Like nobody knows. It's complete mystery. And there are guards banged up right now, so that's good for him. But I don't trust him enough to put him in a lineup tonight or call him a streamer. And I think he is in the drop zone simply because he didn't play last night. We don't really have any information. As far as streamers go,
Santi Aldama ruled out for Wednesday. Just a FYI. What a weird thing that was yesterday. Going to possibly play and then out 2 more games. Anyway, you were saying, Doc.
And Omax signed a contract, didn't he?
Omax signed a contract after having like a 2-point empty stat line night. And not that anybody noticed over here. And my hope is that they were like, hey, Omax, until the ink is dry, just kind of chill out there. You never know what could happen on the basketball court. And he comes back and he gets it back for us tonight.
Maybe. My first streamer is Kyle Filipowski. And we pretty much told you guys, do not cut Khalil Ware. And Filipowski, we don't know when it's going to happen, but Filipowski is going to become very relevant at some point between now and the end of the season. Well, both of those things are true right now. Khalil Ware is balling, and Filipowski, now that Yusuf Nurkic is out on the way, Walker Kessler's not coming back. I mean, it's sort of Filipowski's show the rest of the way, and he does a lot of cool stuff. He scores, he blocks shots, he hits threes, he gets some steals, he rebounds. So if you've waited this long on Filipowski, congratulations. And if he's sitting on your league's waiver wire, go get him.
Yeah, I mean, he's been just rolling, and I don't think he's going to be available in a lot of formats, but we're seeing it as actually the case that he's available. So make that he's a run, don't walk guy, I think, and season long rest of season mid-round value. Let's get to Micah Potter, probably available in a lot of places, I would think. And he's been producing in the middle rounds for about 2 weeks now. And there's not a lot of competition for minutes, I don't think, in Indy. And we're just going to see if he can keep it going. I don't think he's a huge defensive stat guy. He is a little bit rich right now with the percentages, I think. So we could see a decline at the wrong time. You're picking him up right as he's cooling off. We could see that. But I think there's enough safety in the tank here. I think Micah Potter is not somebody that they're really kind of doing the in and out thing where you play a game, you don't play a game. He's been consistent in the 25-minute range. going forward. So I like the idea of seeing what he can give you tonight, as well as possibly giving you some rest of season value. So Micah Potter. Doc, who do you got?
My man, G.G. Jackson. I don't think he should be available on waiver wires, but apparently he is. Last night, he had 12 points, 11 boards, stealing a block and a 3. He had 11 and 9 the game before that. He's been pretty freaking fun since mid-January. And, if you don't know by now, I don't know when you're going to know, but G.G. Jackson, possibly the ultimate tank specialist. Like, I love GG when they shut everybody down.
He's consistent right now, and that is great. Get you solid field goal percentage, 55% range, defensive stats. He's doubled his defensive stats year over year, adjusted for playing time and all of that good stuff. And I think it's because he lost some weight, and I think he trained well, and he's concentrating a little bit more on defense, moving the ball even better. He's not used to be you give the ball to GG Jackson, it's like, am I ever going to get that thing back? Now he's moving it at the appropriate time. So good job, GG Jackson. I will take us to Los Angeles and say Chris Dunn is a pretty good streamer right now, getting you defensive stats, getting you some PRA. We do have questions about, just the overall health of this rotation and lineup. And we've got the, the Benedict Matherins and oh my God, I'm blanking on what's his name's name. Our new guard, Garland. Thank you. I'm awake. I'm alive, everybody. We just rebooted me in real time. Darius Garland. So it could be crowded here really quick. Chris Dunn might fade for a little bit, but I also think that they're going to start resting guys because they're locked into the play-in. And he's just he and Derek Jones are perfect guys to kind of pick up the pace while everybody lets off the accelerator a bit. So I like Chris Dunn. Doc, who do you got next?
Just shout out Ace Bailey. 18 points, 4 boards. His last game, he had a steal and a couple threes. He's getting 30 minutes a night. He's putting up pretty decent numbers. The game before that, he had 3 blocks and a steal and 3 3-pointers. Game before that, he had a block and a steal and 2 threes. So, he's contributing in the categories that we like to see fantasy guys contribute in. He seems to be really healthy, and it seems that the Utah Jazz are fully content with putting him out there and letting him ball with Filipowski. So enjoying some Ace Bailey right now.
I hope that Keontae George really, his next step of his development is learning to pass better and more. Because Ace Bailey, if let's say George plays the entire rest of the season somehow, which would be great for his fantasy GMs, Ace Bailey won't have quite the pop. But maybe if George made it a priority to see, I'm getting an enunciation update here in the private chat. That's hilarious. Ace Bailey. What did I say? Ace Barlow, Ass Bailey. What did I say? It's Ace Bailey. The producer is on one today. Ace Bailey, he could go top 75 if everything's, working his direction, because he can get some defensive stats every so often, and the PRA can be there as well. He makes some tough shots, and that's the thing that bugs me a little bit. But I look at almost Keontae George as more important to Ace Bailey's value than Ace Bailey is to Ace Bailey's value if Keontae George is going to play.
Yeah, and I know I've gone through my three honorable mentions are Derek Jones Jr. with no Johnny Collins around. Sam Hauser in Boston is pretty reliable. And then take your pick between Cam Spencer and Walter Clayton tonight for Memphis. I think one of them is going to be probably okay, and the other one has a chance to be explosive. So very interesting.
I love the noises of the city landscape here in Casa de SportsEthos. Let's get to Bobby Portis here. Bobby Portis has not been performing, and I just wonder if Milwaukee feels like their backs are against the wall in this game, and if Giannis turns to his security blanket, Bobby Portis, just to try to get them up and over the number and a win. We got no Kevin Porter. That certainly helps things. And it'll be interesting to see this offense rebalance, because Kevin Porter and Ryan Rollins they're trying to get theirs every single time they touch the ball. And with Giannis on the floor, that is just a lot of problem right there. And so if this thing rebalances and they're efficient in this game and they come away with the win, I wouldn't be surprised. And if Bobby Portis had himself a top 75 line in the process, that would make sense to me too. And that's going to do it for this episode of Fantasy NBA Today. If you listen on that pod feed, take 60 seconds and leave a 5-star review. It really helps us out a ton. Seriously, not kidding with that. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the Sports Ethos channel so you guys don't miss an episode. From Doc, Andre, and everybody here at Sports Ethos in about 45 minutes, join Doc for the Q&A with Dr. A. There's a link we just pumped out on Twitter, so go ahead and get your questions in there right now. And then we will be back after that with our daily fantasy deep dive, available exclusively on the Fantasy NBA Today podcast feed and the Sports Ethos YouTube channel. This has been Fantasy NBA Today, presented by FanDuel.
I miss KPJ already, Brew.